get some sound going here. Let's see, what is it clean? Sure. Not too clean. All right, let's see. Yeah, just hanging out while I wait for people to show up. I want to check one thing. I want to make sure that we're not getting a million ads on those last couple live streams. Appreciate you guys, and I really apologize if you see a million ads. I do monetize, but if I don't, let's see. Let me just take a look at this one. Let's see, monetization. If YouTube does it, oh, okay, there are none during. Okay, so I will add like one every 30 minutes. I feel like that's fair. One ad every 30 minutes is not too much to ask, right? And wow, 2 weeks ago I went 2.5 hours. I don't think I'll go 2.5 hours today. I didn't even know what I was going to talk on until just now. So, okay, let's save that. All right. Let me go to Good Morning America. Gosh, I forgot about that movie. Robin Williams makes me sad. Okay, let me go back to the channel here. Let's see. Let me check last week's. Yeah, so what I'm doing is I'm going in. If you're a YouTuber or a wannabe YouTuber, I'm going into the editing the video. I'm clicking on monetization. Oh, okay, good. No. So there were no ads during which is a bummer for me, but it's all good. There's an ad at the beginning, but what I do is I put an ad in every about 30 minutes, just randomly placed ads, and before and after, of course, but nobody gets to the end of the video. I don't know how many of you ever see an ad at the end of the video. I mean, sometimes if you just leave it and walk away, you might get that, but also I'm working. So, hey, Dave Black. Robin Williams is alive. Yes, he's hanging out with Elvis Presley and Jeffrey Epstein. Wait a minute. Okay, so let's see. Where are we here? There we are. Hey, hi. We did this thing last week where wow, that's kind of weird, huh? I'll move that. That looks a little bit better. It's just, and this week, oh, I guess, yeah, there's the D7. So we superimposed the minor pentatonic on top of the major pentatonic in the position of the caged chord. Last week we did the G shape, and we can see the major pentatonic, and then we put the minor pentatonic over that, and we ended up with a kind of a hybrid scale, which was basically, let me look this up real quick, because I think the bebop scale is not a flat third, but it has a major seventh and a flat seventh. Let me see. Scale. See if there's any definitive. Let's see here. G mixolydian scale reversed. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so the bebop scale is not that. I called that the bebop scale last week. It's not. Which I actually think, in some ways, that this is more bebop than the other one. But that's just my opinion. I'll be chastised for it. But bebop scale is a mixolydian scale with a major seventh, okay? So if we were talking about G mixolydian, and ignore the diagrams here, but right, a major scale. So if you were to combine the notes in a major scale and a mixolydian scale, you'd end up with a bebop scale. Part of the of the reason I feel like they add a note is so that you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. You've got an 8-note scale, so you can go octave to octave and start on 1 and end on 1. But nobody does a solo like that. Now I do agree that that's a great little lick. Like if we're over G, going F sharp G is great. I always think of horn players. Bam, 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 something like that. Some kind of horn section playing a bunch of roots and then flat seventh and the major seventh and then the root. So anyway, I'm jumping right into lesson, but let me say hi. David Sillers, hello from Scotland. I saw someone on TikTok, a Scottish girl talking words she couldn't pronounce. It's just funny. I never imagined women with a Scottish accent. Whenever I think of Scottish accent, I'm always thinking men. I don't know why. It's just funny to hear a woman with a Scottish accent. And that's all you hear, David. So, let's see. Oh, hey, Holly. I got Holly and Bruce. So two out of 3 ain't bad. Dan, how's it going? How does the standby switch on a Fender tube amp? Oh, how should it be used? Hey, that's a good question. Basically, what I would do, anytime I turn on my amp, I always turn on the standby and leave it on until I'm ready to play. The standby, I think, basically is just to preserve tubes. So if you're going to walk away, like say you're doing a set of music in a club, and you're going to walk away from your amp, okay, for like 20-minute break. Hit the standby switch. Don't turn off the amp because then you don't have to wait for it to warm up. I think that process of on and off might be tough on the tubes and all the components. And standby does 2 things. One, it stops sending power to the tubes, which allows you to not be burning tubes. And then the other thing is it mutes your amp. So if you accidentally leave your guitar up, like I've had this problem at church. I've talked, but not at Shepherd. No, this happened at Lake Avenue Church. If it happened at Shepherd, Dudley would have fired me. I wouldn't have been working there any longer. But it happened at Lake Avenue Church in Pasadena, and I subsequently, from that day forward, and that was probably 25 years ago or 20 some odd years ago, 25 years ago maybe. I mute my amp whenever I walk away from it. So that if something rings out or if somebody hits the guitar and it goes, rings out, it won't be a problem. But that's a good question. And I'm happy to take questions. Very, very happy to. Hey, Aslan. Hey, Dave Blackan. You look new. You're going to get molested now by all the moderators. Let's see. Okay, AJ. Oh, good to see you, Strahle's Guitar World. Party on. Let's see. Lena, I was watching your video the other day. Thanks for the shout out. Well, you saw that I shouted out back. That's awesome. I really appreciate you. You're spreading the word and you're teaching, and that's I'm 100% fine with that. I actually had somebody repost my video, but they had like 6 views. YouTube said, "Do you want to file a copyright infringement on it?" And I said, "Okay, sure." And then I hit the button, and it opened up this page of like 4,000 questions. I'm like, never mind. I'm just not. He had 8 views of my video, so I was just like, nah, I don't care. Let's see. Jack Lloyd and Steve Barry, good to see you. Always good to see you all. Oh, you got a new Les Paul. That's awesome, Steve. Brand new Les Paul. Hugh Howell, good to see you again. Brentwood, UK. Oh my gosh. I don't know where Cruz is. I teach Cruz Beckham. He's at he's at a sporting school now. So not because he was bad. That's just an English thing to do. Whenever I think boarding school, it's like, man, what'd you do wrong? It's just like people send their kids to boarding school, in England. But in America, if you're going to boarding school, it's because you got issues sometimes. Bruce, thank you, Bruce, for all that. Another thing I ask, if you wouldn't mind hitting the notification bell, I feel like if everyone that tunes into my live stream from week to week because it's different people. You know, we have people show up and they're like, oh, I forgot about it or I had to watch it later. If you hit the bell, you'll only get 1 or 2 notifications a week from me, so it won't be annoying, and you can always turn it off. But what it does, it helps me get viewers, because if you know I have a video that posted, you'll be like, oh, I got to watch that, and I need more viewers. I'm almost to 100,000 subscribers. I can't wait, but I'm trying not. It's not going to happen before the end of the year at the rate I'm going. I think I'm getting over 700 per 28 days. So you do the math. So it's not going to quite get me from 97,000 to 100,000, but it's pretty impressive. I mean, I don't even think about it until I tell someone and they go, "You've got 100,000 viewers or subscribers on YouTube." I'm like, "Yeah, I do," and they go, "Wow, that's pretty impressive." I see people get in the millions, and I'm just like, "Wow, okay, yeah, I'm nothing." Discord invite. Thank you, Bruce. I'll go ahead and pin it. Okay. So Bruce, this is the Discord group. If you're a member, you know. If you're not a member, you don't know. But basically, all the diagrams. I don't know if I put last week's diagram, but all these diagrams you see, I upload them up to the Discord link. Let me do today's. This is what I did for today. I took the first lesson we did on the pentatonic, the CAGED method intro, the one where we took the C shape up to D, and so the 3 diagrams with the red notes in it with the D chord, those were old. The thing below is I added, so I superimposed the D minor pentatonic and the D major pentatonic. So you end up with kind of a hybrid pentatonic, or a hybrid scale. It's an 8-note scale, and it has the root, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, and the root. It's a great set of notes for playing over like blues. And in this case, I wrote a D7 chord. That's not a D7 chord. That's something you might play over a D7 chord. Sorry. Man, it's like, if you look at that, that right there is a D7 sharp 9. Okay, play this with me. Second finger on the 5th string, 5th fret. I'll write it out here. Hey, J-Com. What's going on? Nice graphics. I do those in Apple Pages. Pages is the Office version, the Microsoft Word version, the Apple version of Microsoft Word. Okay, so here's the chord I'm playing. It's D7 sharp 9. It's the Jimi Hendrix chord, but down a whole step, because Jimmy played it in E. So, right? Did I write it right? Okay. So 5, 4, 5, 6. In fact, that's the beginning of a song. What is that? The beginning of what's that? Somebody will know it. The Steely Dan song. It's actually not. It's like, I think it's that, right? But I think it's even more like weird. It's like, I can't remember. Because Rick Beato interviewed, I wish I had interviewed him, Larry Carlton. And I'm a huge Larry Carlton fan. It was a really, for me, it was one of my biggest influences early on. Almost made me quit playing guitar, though. But it's like that. But here, this chord, so it's a D7 chord. Here's D7. So like we play C, add the pinky here on the 3rd string, on the 3rd fret. That's C7, C sharp 7, D7. I'm not playing the high E string. If I move my first finger up, that's D. Now I'm taking that root up to the flat 9. That's D7 flat 9. If I go up another fret, that's D9, and this is D flat 9. That's a good exercise. So I'm going D7 sharp 9, D9, D7 flat 9. And you could call this D7 9, but shorthand for D7 with a 9th added is D9. Okay? Yeah. Hendrix chord. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. It saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. high. Was blind, but now I see. You know, everybody does all those versions of Gilligan's Island. No, I do Amazing Grace. You can do Amazing Grace, you know. Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound. It saved a wretch like me, I am found. Sorry about that. You have to listen to me sing. Oh man, what else? I would do, I would do, but I did Stairway to Heaven. You can do with Stairway to Heaven. Back in Black. But I'm not going to sing it too high. But you can sing Amazing Grace pretty much over any song. Don't Take Me Alive, Steely Dan. Thank you, Steve Barry. I knew someone would know that. JCOM, good to see you. You can read in reverse. Oh, yeah. Didn't think about that. Because those diagrams don't quite... Yeah, my brain can't even wrap around that, JCOM. Thanks for tuning in. Sorry about that. But I always like teaching left-handed students because it was like looking at a mirror. So when you're actually face-to-face with a student, it's actually really good. Now, I could reverse this image. Just reverse the whole thing. And... I think early on, wasn't the first live streams, wasn't it reversed? That's why I have a hard time pointing at things, because I'm like, got so used to that, because my left was the left on there instead of the opposite. So David Sillers, I said hi to you. Sam, I said, well, you did. Mr. ES335, yeah. So somehow Larry Carlton said he remembered that chord. He'd be like, yeah, I remember doing it. It was like, yeah, I just did some weird chord. So, maybe he figured it out later. So, because a lot of times you do these sessions and you don't know what they're going to keep. You don't remember even doing them just because, dang. I mean, back when Lukather, but Larry Carlton was doing all those sessions. He was doing 3 a days, probably 6 days a week. So he was probably doing 18 sessions a week, playing on albums, TV shows, movies. You can hear him, like Beth and I have been watching old Rockford Files. You can hear sometimes Larry Carlton's playing on the old Rockford Files, and I'll recognize his playing. It's a lot of Bob Bain, which is funny, because Bob Bain was the guitar player for Johnny Carson. And Tommy Tedesco used to tease him that he used wah-wah so much, he used to tease him that his shoes had wah-wahs built into them. Which is a freaking great idea. They'd be platform shoes, and you'd have wah-wahs whenever you need them, 2 of them. Or a volume pedal and a wah. I mean, come on. This is a great idea. Oh, yeah, there you go. You reward companies that, yeah, sorry, yeah. Ethan, what's going on? Oh, I'm so glad, Ethan. Well, hit the notification bell. I've been trying to get people to do that just so that I'm on here every Monday. I try to be here every Monday if I can. Whether I have anything to talk about or not, because we just hang out and I'll take questions and stuff. Gary's here. Gilligan's Island, House of the Resident. Yep. Yeah, but that was like the one they did in youth group and stuff, and everybody was like, get a chuckle out of that. So I just did Amazing Graces to every rock song I could think of. I wonder if I could do it. Not quite. That one doesn't quite work. 20 watching. That's it, Holly? Gosh. Well, I'm going to start teaching anyway. Somebody asked me, and I'm teaching now, so you can pay attention. Get your sips ready, just in case I do something sip worthy. We haven't really talked about the drinking game very much. Yeah, we have a lot of rules, and one of them is if I touch my face, because in COVID era we're not supposed to touch our face. Ethan. Oh. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was like, what are you? That's his name. Okay. Ethan, where are you, by the way? That almost sounds like South Africa or somewhere in Africa. But yeah, if you turn on the notifications, then you probably get 1 or 2 notifications a week. I'm not going to bombard you with videos. I'm just not that productive. Zimbabwe, boy, was that close. I just met someone from Nigeria, which is not very close to Zimbabwe, but I used to work for some producers in London from Nigeria. So I don't know if I've ever worked with anybody from Zimbabwe. It's a beautiful place, though. Okay, so somebody asked me, is there a minor caged method? And my initial reply was no. When I did the first cage thing, okay, cage one this, we looked at the 5 very, very, very common open chord shapes, the 5 major shapes. And like I said, I taught this for years, not realizing that I was teaching the cage method, okay? One of my students finally said, oh, that's the cage method. I said, what do you mean cage method? They go, yeah, C-A-G-E-D, it spells cage. And I went, I never noticed that. So I taught it probably for 20 years before actually knowing it was the cage method. That's how natural it is, okay? I wasn't taught the cage method. I came up with it on my own and didn't teach it as the cage method because I didn't notice that it spelled the word caged, okay? So when someone asks me, and you'll notice they're all major chords. Well, when someone asks me, oh, well, do they have a minor version of it? Well, my initial reaction was no, because there is no open C minor chord really, and there's no open G minor chord. I mean, I could play something like that where I'm muting the AC, but you know, I could, if I had another finger, I could get, like, if I could get this with this, then technically, if you want to visualize that up the fretboard, great. Of course, there's E minor, there's D minor, and there's A minor. So there's 3 of them. 3 of the 5 have minor shapes. But the C, I could go to C minor, I get to flat that third. But I've got, anytime you've got 2 thirds in a chord, it's going to, 2 major thirds in a major chord, you're going to have a little bit of a problem making the entirety of that chord minor. If you look at the A chord, the E chord, and the D chord, each one of those only have 1 third. So you only have to make accommodations for 1 note. And in every case, it's fairly easy. In fact, in E minor, we just take a finger off, right? So here's E and here's E minor. But G, you know, if we're playing G like this, we got an open B, so we have to tune down that, and we have to flatten it, you know, and then we'll have G minor. So my initial thought was like, no, there's no cage method for minor. However, if I'm jamming in a minor key, and let me just pull up my logic here and see if I, let's see, get some kind of pad or something. Let's see, where is a pad? I know. Is this a pad? Okay, so let me just. So I'm going to just create this pad loop kind of thing that I can play over, and it's just going to be A minor. All right. Okay. Boom, and I'm going to loop this, and then I'll go to here. So what I'm doing now, so okay, before I go, I'm going to stop this for a second. Okay, so I want to show you like some A minor chords on the fretboard. Okay, so again, we're talking about, is there a minor version of the CAGED method? So the E form, yes, is A minor. So here's A minor there, right? The next after the A form would be the G form. I'm sorry. Yeah, after the A form would be the no. I'm sorry. This is the E form. Sorry. After the E form would be the D form. Here's the D major or A major D form. Here's A minor. Okay, so I see that. Now this one actually I do see that one. Okay. Mainly because I think of for some reason I think of gypsy jazz for that one. And then here, so if I were able to play, you know, I'm playing 12 on the fifth string, 12, 10, 9, 10, 8. Or I can think of A minor. See, here's A minor, here's another A minor. You could do that. So yeah, I can see the A minor shapes. Now this one definitely, that is the A minor. Okay, there's A minor right there. I'm seeing it at the 12th fret. Okay, so yes, the whole point of CAGED method is to visualize the neck in a certain way so that you can find things, find scales, find chords, find riffs, find rhythm ideas, melodic ideas. You know what? You know. That riff was derived at by visualizing the D form CAGED method, or from the CAGED method. So a D form G chord in that case. So let me go back to let me get that pad going. And try to get these windows in order. And so now there's an A minor vamp, or A minor pad on the keyboard. So I'm visualizing this. Now I'm seeing this chord. And then I might. Now I'm seeing this little A minor shape, and then that one. I might see this one here. But I definitely would. I want to go Dorian. So I guess I changed my answer on is there a minor CAGED method? Because I do visualize, I can visualize scales, I can visualize chords, and once you start getting up the neck, you can actually visualize all 5 of those shapes, even though you couldn't play them in open position. Okay, does that make sense? All right, Corey, bar chords still giving my fingers trouble. Any advice? Yes, several tips here. Hold on. Oh, Mickey, hey, what's going on? Good to see you. France, hey, I love France. Paris, oh my gosh, we love Paris so much. I'm actually, my great-grandparents were from Alsace-Lorraine. Also, I'm sure I'm saying it, Alsace-Lorraine. Very, very eastern France, down by Austria, Germany, Strasbourg area. My great-grandparents were immigrated from there. Okay, so bar chords. I'm happy to talk about bar chords. Okay, in fact, when we start doing the CAGED method, we start to see there's all the chord shapes there. You can go back if you go to the Discord. Oh shoot, did I not post the Discord? There's the Discord. Let me pin this. If you join the Discord, you can. It's free. Try to use your same username if you can. That you're using here on YouTube, if you don't mind. You can have multiple usernames on Discord. But you can download all of these images for free, okay? I try to upload everything here. So bar chords are a big part of CAGED method. when we're talking about CAGED method as per, playing rhythm. Okay, so thanks, Bruce. Corey was the one that asked about bar chords, and this is a good review for everybody. Okay, one of the things, the F bar chord gives everybody a really hard time, and a lot of that. For one thing, you can't bend this first finger. You really have to keep this straight. So if you bend this at all, I doubt that this much of your finger is enough to cover your. Sorry, there you go. This much of your finger is enough to cover all 6 strings. And when you're playing a full bar chord like at the F chord, okay, so you're definitely going to have to get that. So what I would do is, first off, make sure your finger's up against the fret. Let the fret do most of the work, okay? You don't have to push the string down to the wood of the fretboard. You only have to push the string down to the fret wire, which is considered, if you look at the edge of the guitar, you can see that the fret wire is probably about halfway between the distance between the string and the fretboard, okay, the top of the fret wire. So if you only have to push the string that far, you're pushing it 50% less far. I'm saying this, half as far as you would have to, okay? So that's one thing. So you don't want to be on top of you're going to get a dead sound if you're on top of the fret wire. But you want to be just behind it. Let the frets do most of the work for you, okay? Okay, another thing, it's easier to do it up here. There's several reasons why it's easier to do it up here. The frets are smaller, the strings are looser. See, when you're trying to push down the first fret here, first string at the first fret, you're fighting the nut. The nut's like, I'm holding this string up, and you're like, I'm trying to push you down. Well, if you go to the 12th fret, that's the place where the string is the squishiest. It's easiest to bend the string there, but it's also easiest to press the strings down here at the 12th fret, okay? You're getting the least resistance from both the bridge and the nut, okay? So if you can get the bar chord or just even this, all 6 strings with one finger, and if you have to put your second finger on top and your third finger and your fourth finger on top to help at first, then take off the fourth, then take off the third, and then take off try to get it with one finger. And keep in mind, for a major chord, you only need 50% of the notes here, the bottom string and the top 2 strings. Okay, but if you can get that, try to bring it down, and pluck individually. And again, keep your fingers straight. But it's easier up here because the strings, you don't have to push down so hard, the frets are smaller, and also your arm is closer to your body. So sometimes, if this is not working for you, you may have to go to like a classical pose and put your arm like, and this is a little bit more ergonomically correct. This is why classical guitarists who are obsessed with efficiency, this is why they play this way. I guess you don't need to see my hair. See, there's my hair. I didn't even do anything. I woke up, got out of bed, went to Starbucks like this, and there's my hair. Okay, so you can just keep moving it down and pluck. Try to get every one of those notes to ring out. If one's dead, you just kind of try to manipulate it, okay? But if you may have to change to this 45-degree angle thing, if that helps. So, and the other thing too is if you're standing up, you're definitely going to probably have to wear the guitar higher. The guitar players that play with their guitars down at their knees can't really do full bar chords. They're probably doing power chords anyway. But hopefully, Corey, that helps. Oh yeah, let me send you that. If you haven't seen that, I kind of go into detail on this. On that and the F chord, okay? I'm sorry, the B chord, or B flat, which also gives people a lot of problem. I find the B chord to be harder than the F chord, to be honest. Content. I called it That Darn F Chord. So if I just search for darn, it should be the only one that comes up. And I wish it gave me a link. Okay, so here's the link for That Darn F Chord, okay? So this should help. Check that out. That's a very popular video of mine. If I look at it, I don't want to watch it, but if I...
Everyone asks.
Okay, so stop. Yeah, so 234,000 views. That's not bad. It's actual real revenue on that one. Then I have the one Son of a B chord, I was playing on the darn F chord. I was like the F word, the F chord, as they're being funny, and then I said, well, how can I make fun of the B? And I went, okay, Son of a B chord. And there's that one. So you can watch both those videos. There's probably some tips in both of those videos that you can put together to kind of help you there. But it is just, it takes time. Everybody struggles with bar chord, and it's easier on electric than acoustic. I probably say in one of the videos, it's been a while since I've watched them, but on acoustic, I generally, if I'm going to be in the key of F, I'm not going to play, I don't want to play this chord, and this chord. Okay, that's the 1, 4, 5 in the key of F. Okay, B, F, B flat, and then C. Okay, so I go from 1. Okay, everybody take a sip. I didn't realize I was drop D. That's one of our drinking game rules. Oh, and I changed guitars, so that's also another one of our drinking game rules. Oh yeah, you can use the second finger to help, but then you can't play a major chord. So if you put this on, when I play A minor, yeah, look at my second finger. It's on top of my first, but that's A minor. Now, if I want A major, I'm gonna have to use that second finger. It needs to be there. So big difference between A major and A minor. What was I talking about? Oh, so if I'm in the key of F, you got the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord. Well, I don't want to be playing. For one thing, I don't want to be playing a lot of bar chords on acoustic. It's a lot of work, and I'm lazy. I'm a typical guitar player. I'm very lazy. Okay, so I want what I want to do is because another problem with this. Okay, you got this bar chord, which is 100% of the notes are fretted notes. My finger's making every one of these notes. Same thing with the B flat. 100% of the notes are all fretted. And then I've got the C chord where I've got 2 open strings. So all of a sudden my guitar goes from this kind of dark, cool sound, vibey sound, right? Rooting. I'm cracking myself up. I love me, by the way. So yeah, so if I capo, then I can use all open strings. So, and I do a lot of videos on capoing because I'm a big fan of the capo. But then I would use, for F, I would use a D shape. So they're all going to be open strings. They're all happy. Holly called it. Okay, so a lot of times on acoustic, I kind of capo away from bar chords. However, another tip, a pro tip, this is a pro tip. If I am going to use bar chords, like if I'm going to play F and I don't want to use a capo, or I don't have a capo, I might just go bar chord all the way. So instead of playing a C chord like this, I might play like this, or I might play like this. It's like. I know that sounded like America. I don't know. I might go to an E chord there. I mean, America goes. They mixed major bar chords and open chords. And your ultimate goal with any bar chord is to make it sound as open as possible. And so that's going to be the challenge. Okay. All right, Salvador, what's going on, Marley? The G major and E minor are related. Yeah, they're the exact same notes. They just, in fact, I need to do a video on the modes. Soloing 101, I should probably make that maybe my next. I was thinking about doing patterns, pentatonic patterns. You know what? I need to write some of these down so I don't forget them. YouTube. YouTube ideas. Here we go. Thanks to Holly, she kind of named that Soloing 101 thing. I hate it when it tells me there's updates. Every time you open something. Oh, the Keith Richards chord. I could do that too. Solo 101 the modes. Soloing 101 pentatonic pentatonic, or pentatonic patterns. Yeah, pentatonic patterns. Also, I want to do Solo 101, the triplet. People don't, they often don't consider rhythm when you know, they always think of notes. I got played notes, and they don't even think about rhythm sometimes. And you can I say this all the time, and I stand by it. I'm guilty. I mean, I'm not guilty of it. It's just what it is. Music is manipulation. Okay, very, very powerful tool to manipulate the masses, and literally at church, which you might say is a mass, we manipulate by, you know, making the music dynamic, and like you can if you play a sharp 11, you play a sharp 11, and it's just like, you know, you hear that in a movie and you know what's about to happen. You know, it's foreshadowing. You know, if I do this, I actually heard this chord in James Bond. I saw Bond on Friday, and I wasn't sure if it was actually in a Bond movie, but at the end of the opening theme, transitioning into the scene, they did play that chord. And that chord is E minor ninth with a major 7. And so I'm playing it like this. 0, 10, 9, 8, 7, and then don't play anything on the top string. I know that looks weird. That 1 0 is a 10, so don't let it throw you. Okay. But yeah, music is manipulation. So the triplet. So I want to do one of my soloing 101 videos. I'm going to make it introducing the triplet. I'm going to give you some exercises. You know, so when you're playing maybe like a, right? Something happens when you drop when you go to like a 3/2 feel, or there's a lot of attitude in triplets. Over 2, you know, if we were in 12/8 or in 6/8, then a triplet's kind of a normal thing. But when you're playing in 4/4 and you throw a triplet in there, it's a very powerful tool. So I'm going to talk about that in one of my videos on Soloing 101. Thank you. We've got a lot of. You could call yourself a guitarist the first day, but I wouldn't call yourself a professional guitarist until all of your income was from guitar playing or music. Or no, that's not necessarily true. I mean, if you're half and half, if you make $50,000 a year playing guitar and $50,000 a year at your regular job, then I would say, oh yeah, you're a professional guitarist. You make that kind of money on guitar, you're a pro. But definitely bar chords are definitely a must for any pro guitar player. Let's see, Ethan. I'm having this sharp pain in my fingertips after long hours of playing. Sharp pain on the fingertips, on all of your fingertips, or just one in particular? Sometimes I get that too, and sometimes, but if it's on all of it, usually it's on one, and it's probably because I got like a metal shard off a finger and it's stuck in there, and it's just kind of irritating. If it gets infected, yeah, you should be concerned. If it's a pain, I don't know. I mean, if NFL football players stopped exercising when it hurt, or stopped lifting weights when it hurt, or stopped you know, practice. If somebody was like, "Oh, that hurt a little bit," you know, I don't know that anybody that would be worth watching. You know, hey, Mississippi, Greg, how's it going? So you know, yeah, you should be concerned. If I'm more concerned about tendon pain, like in here, than fingertip pain. Even if you have calluses, and here's the thing, I play all day long, I have no calluses, okay? I used to. I remember the drag about calluses is like you take a shower, you go swimming, or you go in the ocean or whatever, and then they get soft, and then if you play too soon after that, they fall off, or you can get, you know, they can fall off, and then they're really tender. My skin just kind of relearned how to grow in a new way where it's just not, it's soft and patty, but it never gets sore. And I did have a problem where I slid up one time at church. My hands were wet, and the string went under my callus. Oh, man, it affected my playing. I had to use that glue, super glue stuff on my finger to keep the thing sealed, and then I had to play with a Band-Aid on my finger for quite a while, which really affected things. But yeah, I generally try to make sure my hands are dry when I'm playing. So that's one thing. But yeah, there could be a little metal shard in there, but if it's all your fingertips, it's probably you're just working them kind of evenly, and that's maybe not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, so the lesson I kind of prepared for today, the thing I talked about today is we learned the 5 pentatonic shapes and 5 diatonic shapes for the 5 different CAGED method shapes, okay? And the first shape was C, and we didn't do that one last week. We did the G form. So I'm going to go back and do the C form. Exactly. Yeah, there's gain pain and there's strain pain. No pain, no gain is exactly. Sam's giving you good advice. Sam who has had hip surgery recently. I ran today, and wasn't good. It was I got the first half of the run I was fine, and then the second half I was like walking every third block or something. I was like, I lost my wind, but I hadn't run in a week, so I blame myself. Okay, so but it was pain. It hurt. Okay, so this is the C form moved up. Okay, you don't have to be able to play this chord, but you should be able to see this chord. Okay, you should be able to visualize this. And if you want, you can go through and start to see, okay, that's E, here's F, here's G. So you can start to visualize the major pentatonic. So we can play that together. 2, 5, 2, 5, 2, 4, 2, 4, 3, 5, 2, 5. 5, 2, 5, 3, 4, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 5, 2, and then if you want to go back to there's the major root, 5th fret of the 5th string, okay? Now with the major diatonic, let's go ahead and start on the D there. Okay, we're just going to do 1 octave at this point. So 5 on the 5th fret with the pinky, then 2, 4, 5. Okay, do that again. 5 down here, then 2, 4, 5. So you should hear a major scale. Do, re, mi, fa. And then we're going to go 2, 4, and then 2, 3. And backwards 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 4, 2. So that sounds like a major scale. Okay, so that's what we did a few weeks ago. But what I want you to do is I want you to see the major pentatonic, and notice that the major pentatonic is exactly the same as the black dots in this diagram right here, the D7 thing I wrote. I wrote this as something you might play over D7, okay? But what I'm doing here is I'm writing the major pentatonic in D using the C form. So we're visualizing the C form. We're playing in the key of D. And then the blue notes, if you look at the blue notes, it's 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 2, 5, 3, 6, 3, 5. If you look at those, that's pentatonic number. That's pentatonic 3. Remember, pentatonic 3 was when we liked the least, and that is D minor pentatonic. So what I've done is I've taken D major pentatonic, D minor pentatonic and superimpose them on top of each other. So you get all of those notes, that kind of almost a cluster of notes. You got 8 out of 12 notes are represented there. There's 12 possible notes in Western music. And I'm going to change this A minor pad to a D7 pad. Let's see if I can do that. So just move the bass note to D. I got a C, that's good. Don't need an E. Let me go with F sharp. Here we go. It's kind of an odd pad. If I go. What would it sound like if I did this one? Okay, this sounds funny, but actually, so I'm playing the major pentatonic. Yeah, not digging that. Let me do something like really normal. That's just kind of weird. I mean, I like that. Actually, I may use that for something else. Okay, let me throw in a piano here, and I'll just do like a dun, 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 kind of a bluesy thing. Grab piano, Bosendorfer, something that doesn't take long to load. Let's see what we got. What we got? Here we go. Okay, so we're just sitting on the 1 chord because that's a D7 chord. I got to swing it. Let's go to the triplet. That's what I was playing. Okay, now I'm going to just loop that. And that's going to get annoying. So I'm playing just the D major pentatonic there, and it has this kind of happy sound. Boy, I need a rhythm in there. What else should I put in there? I guess I could put a drum. Well, we get rid of the reverb. So let me quantize that. Okay, that gives me something to play to now. All right, so, oh wait, I have to go to the channel. You guys hear that okay? Not too, it's probably too loud, isn't it? So that's the minor, that's the blue circles that I'm playing there. Okay, so play this with me. Play this D note right there. Short, long, short. Long, short. Maybe play the first first three notes of the pentatonic, the major pentatonic, which would be the black note. So 5, 2, 4. It's like Three Blind Mice or something. Now, so that's kind of a happy, you know, I could do that. Go, play the A there at the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and go 4th fret, and then the D note on the 3rd fret. That would be very B.B. Kingy. Robin Ford too. And I'm just playing the black notes right now, that D7 thing right here. It's a D7 chord going on. Sure, get a drum buddy. I mean, if you have an Apple computer, it comes with GarageBand. There's a million drum loops in there. You can throw those on, change the tempo, change the key. You can put keyboard jams in there. They have all sorts of pre-recorded loops and stuff that you can change the key and tempo up really easily. They actually, if you have an iPhone, it may come with GarageBand. I think it does have GarageBand on it, so you can play with your phone. But I always prefer to play with drums over a click. It's just more fun, for one thing, and I think it's more realistic. Okay, so I'm only using the black notes at this moment, and I'm getting a happier sound because I'm playing a major D major pentatonic over a D7 chord. The same one. So that it says major pentatonic right there on the far left, bottom left corner. That's what I'm playing. That same scale is in the diagram right next to it in the black notes. And then the blue notes are the minor pentatonic. So listen to this. Totally different notes. But you see the notes that are circled, black notes? Those are the common notes. The D's and the A's are the only things in common between D major pentatonic and D minor pentatonic. D and A. Those are the only two common DNA. So yeah, we got the DNA of the D pentatonic scales. Play that 6th fret on the 2nd string. That's not in the chord. See, that note clashes. That's like the Jimi Hendrix chord note. But you could bend it up. You could bend it up to the F sharp. You could slide it up. You could hit the F sharp there. So we have both the... I might do that to create a little cluster. That's very Michael Stern. But if I play all the notes, I end up with something. You got so many note options now when you combine those two scales together, which is kind of cool because it's like you learn one and you really learn 5 pentatonic shapes. And you can move them around because this pentatonic shape is one of the 5. This minor, D minor pentatonic shape that I'm using is one of the 5. And I'm superposing it on a different one of the 5. So here we have 2 of the 5 scales represented. And again, you can make any pentatonic scale minor by moving it up 3 frets, okay? So if I took this major one here, right? The one at the bottom left corner there. If I played that scale over this D chord, it's going to sound happy. Take any pentatonic scale, major pentatonic, and you move it up 3 frets, same scale. Sorry. And I just created the D minor scale. But what I did here is instead of just saying, okay, let's go back and forth, because that's fine. I don't have a problem with you doing that. Where you go back and forth. If I wanted to go, problem with you doing that, right? Like I said, George Benson did that kind of stuff all the time. And that's taking the major pentatonic, moving up 3 frets, and playing that makes it the minor pentatonic, and the minor pentatonic, particularly over like a dominant 7th chord, like a D7, is going to create kind of a bluesy sound, right? I don't have a problem with doing it, but what I did here was instead of doing just taking pentatonic, this is pentatonic number 4. Instead of taking pentatonic number 4 and just going up 3 frets and playing again, I said, well, let's superimpose pentatonic number 3 over pentatonic number 4 to get them both in the same neighborhood, and that's where I feel like it's much better because because you already know, if you know this one, you already know this one. But if you do the superimposing the two together, then things start to open up and you start to see things you didn't see before. Like this is one of my favorite parts of that, is that play the A and then the C, or the B and then the C. So the B is part of the major pentatonic and the C is part of the minor pentatonic, and you get this kind of that 6/7 thing. And that's all right there in this hybrid scale where I combined major pentatonic with D minor pentatonic, okay? Yeah, I've done a whole lot of stuff on the CAGED method. You can go back. This is what lesson number. Did I change the lesson number, by the way? Where am I? I did, right, Bruce? Bruce is one always helps me keep track of that kind of stuff. I'll look it up right now. I have to go back and see what the previous one was. I have to open a different browser because I don't want to accidentally change something here. And you're yelling at me now. You're going, yes, you did. I did. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, that's right. Exactly right, Holly. You can go back in tracks. One of my biggest videos is my bluegrass jam tracks, where it's just like 10 minutes of jam. I have a bunch of jam tracks. Let me give you a link to that. Let's see. That would be in one of my playlists. Let me find that playlist. I'll give you a link, and then you can find a lot of jam tracks there. Basics, theories, live stream. CAGED method. Oh, speaking of CAGED method, I have lessons there. Search jam. No, I don't want to do that because I think it's going to send me individual videos. I want playlists. Wow. Surely I've done a... Is this not? I must have blown right by it. Yeah, I must have blown right by it. Cool skills. CAGED method, song lessons, symphonies. Okay, those are all private. Okay, original songs. Huh. Weird. Okay, those are mine. What the heck? I know I created a playlist. Maybe on my channel. I'm pretty sure that there's a playlist for... Sorry. You're watching an episode of CSI right now. I know I created a... Weird. A Jam Tracks playlist. Why? That's kind of a no-brainer. I need to remedy that. Okay. I will remedy that today. I thought for sure I had a jam track playlist. I've got a million jam tracks. I don't understand. Let me pull up one of those jam tracks. Content, jam. Yeah. I mean, it's hugely popular video. Editor, details. Yeah, playlist, jam tracks. Well, where the heck is that jam? It says I have it. I have a jam track playlist, but it's not showing up on my, for some reason. That's weird. I mean, I have a lot of private playlists because, you know, world instruments and lute related and home repair stuff. Those wouldn't. All playlists. Weird. Well, anyway, if you go to my channel and just enter the word jam, you'll see a lot of jam tracks. And I have minor jams and it's just weird. Like you know, it's one of those times where you're looking right at it, you don't see it. Moroccan travel. Jack wants to go to Morocco. So, all right, I'm getting viewers just from that, from me looking on the web. That's pretty. You guys are bored. So, okay. So let me pull up this jam again. Okay, so it's just a D7 chord, and I'm just going to play the blue notes. And see if you can see that major triad there. The red notes, kind of try to superimpose them. I originally did this diagram with the red notes in there, and I just felt like it was way too complex looking, so I got rid of them. Oh, that's the major. Sorry. See, there's the 6, and there's the root. Together. I love that sound, that major second. So again, now if I play all the notes there, the black and the blue notes, black and blue. We go black and blue, we got. See, I got that B and C in there. I'm playing an open D. It's okay if you hit that open D, even though it's not part of the scale. It is part of the song. It's one of the notes in the scale, so it doesn't. You know, if I was playing up here, I might hit that open D there too. It doesn't really matter. If it works, it works. Okay. I see a question from Dan. Hold on. Okay, so let me reiterate that again. So if you're playing a major pentatonic, all right? So in this case, I'm playing a D major pentatonic. If I play that major pentatonic right there at the 2nd fret, and my Ds are here and here. If I want to make that a minor sound, all I do is I take the same exact note for note scale, okay, finger for finger scale, and go up 3 frets. So now I'm at the 5th fret. I was at the 2nd fret, now I'm at the 5th fret, play the same scale, but now the Ds are here and here. They're in 2 different places, but I still have Ds. And that's generally what blues guitar players do. They play a minor scale instead of the major scale, or they play a minor pentatonic instead of the major pentatonic. A major scale wouldn't work over this. So that major diatonic scale up here would not work over D7, because the major diatonic scale has a C sharp in it. That's going to sound nasty. Now, the bebop scale we learned today has the C natural, would have the C sharp and the C natural. So bebop scales. But I feel like that's mostly so you got that extra note to get you to the root. It's like, you know, that kind of thing where you got that kind of like a passing tone. That C sharp works as a passing tone. But you wouldn't want to sit on a C sharp over a D7 chord. You know, maybe you would. If that's beautiful to you, then mazel tov. Yeah, 34 watching. Thanks, Holly, for keeping tabs on that. We got. There was a weird spike, and then it dropped out. It was like went up to 65 or something, but then it's not showing now historically. So. Generally, yeah, Jack, I'm using the fifth or sixth or fourth string to find that root note. But if you know the major, you know the major pentatonics, you also know the minor ones because they're the same shapes. But then if you find, like, if we're playing in the key of C, and I'm playing C major pentatonic, you know, pentatonic number 1 that we all love here, right? That's if I move it up 3 frets. It's going to sound bluesy over that same C chord. Happy major or minor. So yeah, it's just a matter of moving the major pentatonic up 3 frets. Add 3 to every number. So 2 to 5. But like I like to do is I like to instead of doing that, go ahead and do that, but then find the neighboring pentatonic scale below the one you moved up to. So, for example, in this D major pentatonic, I can move it up to here and play it, but I'm not creating a hybrid thing. I'm just have 2 different scales. But if I go, okay, this is pentatonic number 4, so number 3 is right down here, and so that's the blue notes. The blue circle notes here is pentatonic number 3 in D minor, superimposed on top of pentatonic number 4 in D major. Okay, does that make sense? I know there's a lot of jargon, but oh, okay. Digitech. Well, Corey, buy it. You want me to find it on Amazon, or if you buy it through my Amazon links in the video here, I get a percentage, which is always good. I don't know what was my Amazon revenue for last month. It's the most I've ever gotten. A typical would be like $10 a month or something from Amazon, but it's cool. You know, I get a check every month from Amazon, or a deposit anyway. Let's say somebody went crazy at Amazon. No, $2. No one's gone crazy at Amazon. Oh, but I got some links here. Clicks, but no orders. But the most I've ever made was like $300 one month. I swear, I think of someone like clicked through and bought an entire PA system for their church or something through Amazon, and I ended up making like $300. It was pretty cool. But Christmas is coming up, so if you want to, you can just do. You don't have to buy the picks or the strings or the whatevers I'm linking to through Amazon on my YouTube channel. Anything you buy after linking through those, I get a piece of, which is kind of cool. So Humble. Any other questions here? Oh yeah. Sorry. I hope that was kind of what. I guess, sorry, I missed that question. That's why I have moderators to help me out here. Where did Humble's question go? Oh, there's. Oh, no, you're talking about California. Oh, Jack Lloyd. Okay. So. What else we got going on? Okay, so am I going to do this next week? I don't know if I'll keep going. I mean, I could. So what I did here was pentatonic, the C form, Okay, so these are the major and minor pentatonics for the C form. Those are the minor and major pentatonics up here at the top for the, I combined these two here, the A form and the E form. See, yeah. Yeah, so it's interesting. I kind of approached it a different way here on that last week, so I apologize. I kind of totally did it different this time, but that's kind of basically how I think about when I visualize the fretboard when I'm playing over G7, you know. And then the thing is the chord is very likely going to go to G7, right? If you're playing blues or something, or the 4 chord. And so then I would know the major pentatonic for G, and I would know the minor pentatonic for G right there in that position. And so now I've got 4 pentatonic shapes that I'm doing all in one position so that I don't really have to move around. A part of it is, you know, so you can have your eyes closed. Look at a lot of musicians, they have their eyes closed. I mean, I want to be able to go up and down the neck. I'm not trying to avoid going up and down the neck. But let me just modulate this up to the 4 chord here, okay? So I'm going to take this. I'm going to go that way. Okay. So here's D7 for 4 bars. There we go. Now I'm playing G minor pentatonic. Back to D minor pentatonic. To D major. Hybrid. Hybrid and G. D major. D minor. G minor. So it's really, really good to be able to seamlessly go between all the pentatonic shapes right on top of each other as the chords change. It's one of the skills of a professional guitar player. Let's just say. So, you know, I could have just gone, okay, D major, play this. So I could have gone D major, play this pentatonic number 1 in D major. Oh, I want minor. Okay, go take pentatonic number 1 in D minor. Oh, go to G, G major. Okay, pentatonic number. Go to 12th fret to do pentatonic number 1 in G major. Oh, now go to the 15th fret to do pentatonic number 1 in G minor. So technically, I could have done something like this. Dang it! I keep getting my windows mixed up. Here we go. The exact same lick. Just using the same scale. Major version, minor version, major version, minor version. And it just sounds like you're doing it. Well, I am doing the same lick over every skate chord. And that's the downside to not knowing all of your scales in all the positions. But you don't have to learn them like all 12 scales. I mean, all 5 scales in all 12 positions. Actually, double that because you're trying to look at the scales from a minor pentatonic and a major pentatonic. So you're trying to look at both. So the minor, you technically would have 120 different positions for the 2 types of scales, but it's not like that. It's a need to know thing, and then when you learn it in one key, it's a lot easier to do it in all the others. So it's not like you have to. Okay, I need to sit down and memorize all the pentatonic shapes and all the positions and make sure that I can superimpose and blah blah. No. You just, yeah, what I would do if I were you and I was trying to learn this, I would write a song. I would do a jam where it's just, hey, everybody take a sip. I dropped a pick. It's one of our drinking game rules. Cheers. But you know, you could write a song that's just either just G7 or D7 to G7, has the 4 and the 1 and the 4. And then you'd write a melody. You just, you know, you could even do a chord, hit a chord. And you go to the major. Go to the major. And then go G. See that? And what I did was I just created a little song that is going to teach me, and again, I'm using snippets of these scales. I'm not doing this, I'm not going, see. I'm not doing a whole bunch, I'm just doing something melodic. So your end product is knowledge and a listenable melody. Okay, if it's just an exercise, it's going to sound like an exercise. You may get some knowledge out of it, but an exercise isn't going to be knowledge that's as easily usable or transferable to an actual musical situation. Does that make sense? So, like I said, I'm always, like when I wrote, I'm changing guitars so I can take a drink. But when I wrote that song for Emma, there were two things I was trying to learn when I did Emma Louise. And it's probably going to be my next, well, it is going to be my next single. I'm just waiting. Emma's doing the graphic for it, so. But I wanted to do a fingerstyle song in standard tuning. Okay. Well, the natural thing to do in standard tuning, if you're going to play in standard tuning, is pick a key that has a lot of open strings in it, right? Like G, all the open strings are good, or E minor, or C, or even D. But I went with E. Okay. And then the other thing I wanted to do was work on my pull-offs. I was trying to work on my pull-offs so that I was... Something's not right. I'm just going to go ahead and use a tuner because technology. Yeah. But I also wanted a song that was going to use to practice pull-offs. But I could have done something like... But that's not musical. Nobody wants to hear me go. And yet I'm making you hear me do it. Holly, this is when I get really close to the camera. Catherine's not here though. Because some of you are watching me on your giant TV. Like I have a 900-inch TV and that would be insane. Oh, this is the bottom. It's just, guitars tend to go sharp. If you just leave them sitting there. I always think they would go flat, like the strings would loosen, but they always seem to go sharp. I'm sure there's an explanation, but yeah. I feel like it's really easy to write fingerstyle songs in open tunings because you can kind of just hit anything, hit harmonics, everything sounds good. You can hit, do one string. You can move one finger around, and that's really easy. I saw your query. Was that Jack? Who asked me this? Oh, John Bratt. Want to learn one string at a time to learn the fretboard if possible. That's not necessarily a bad way to learn the fretboard, one string at a time. I will tell you if you hang around to the end, if you're here still. One of the things I did when I was trying to learn the fretboard, and it was kind of like that. But anyway, so playing in. a tab for this too, so I might make the tab available down the road if people want to learn how to play it. So yeah, my trick. Was it John Brandt? Oh, Brandt, yeah. Yeah, Michelle, Joni Mitchell uses open tuning. Yeah, she uses them. She uses them to huge effect. I mean, I'm not anti-open tuning. Don't get me wrong, but I find it, like I said, I find it's easier to write. Like, I've got several fingerstyle songs I've written that were used open tuning. So I really want to challenge myself to. My guitar teacher Carl Verheyen would do that. He said he would write songs in like F sharp and A flat because those were very unfriendly guitar keys. He would try to write songs in keys that would challenge him, and he'd have a hard time. He'd have a hard time utilizing open strings, but he still would. You'd like hear him put an open string in, and like, wow, that was cool how he made that work, So that's kind of was the thinking. I didn't go as far as F sharp or A flat. I should do a fingerstyle song in F sharp and see how hard that would be in standard tuning. So one of the things, John, that the tricks that I did when I was a kid to learn my fretboard was I wrote down every possible note name on a little teeny piece of paper. I cut up a bunch of little pieces of paper. I didn't have note cards or something, and I just had a little like box, jewelry box or something like that I put them in, and I would pull them out. But when I say write every note, so like, well, there's 12 notes. Well, actually, you could probably, I think it's 17. I mean, we don't need C flat and E sharp and F flat and B sharp, but you could write those down if you wanted to. If you want to think that way, that's totally fine. But you have E, F, F sharp, G sharp, A flat, A, B flat, or A sharp or B flat. So you have multiple names. So what I would do is I would write, on a piece of paper, I would write F, and then F sharp on a different piece of paper, then G flat, another paper, G sharp, A flat. And ultimately, I think you'll have 15 or 17 different pieces of paper. Well, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, 17. And then shake up that box, pull one out randomly, and if it says G, then you go and you find a G on every string, okay? And so I'm going to go, here's G, and now that's easy because I know that's G. But then the A string, it's like, okay, wait a minute. If that's A, this is A, then G is down a whole step from A. There we go. Okay, now the D string, where's G? So you're going to force you to kind of go through the string like this. E, D, E, F, oh, there's G. The G string, oh, that's easy. No, don't use open strings. So you have to fret it. So if you have an open string, that's the answer to your question, just go to the 12th fret. So now there's a G. So you're learning your fretboard all the way up to the 12th fret. The B string is going to be tough for everybody. So you go B, C, D, E, F, G. There it is. And then here, G. But eventually you're like, you can do it that fast or even faster. You pull out B flat and you just find every B flat on the fretboard like that. And it'll take you a minute to do it at first. And then you might be able to do the whole box of 17 notes in 3 minutes eventually. But it will force you to go up the string, one string at a time to find your note. Or maybe go down. If you go, okay, A is a whole step below B, so if I need an A, here's B, there's A. You may not go this way, but that doesn't matter from which direction you attain or find your note, as long as you find the correct note. And you should be able to tell, everything is an F, they should sound alike. If you hear something that's not an F, oh wait, that's not an F. Oh, that's not an F. There it is. Then that should help. So that I would do that. I have a video on that. Sorry, I keep hawking my videos. And hey, it doesn't hurt that let's see. What did I call it? Most important. Yeah. This is an old video, really old. My hair was all dark here, almost all dark. But I call it the most important thing to learn on electric guitar. So if you, I've been asked in clinics, when I've taught clinics and stuff, what's the most important thing I should learn? And I'm like, well, what's your instrument? Are you acoustic guitar player or an electric guitar player? And if they say electric guitar player, I say, look, learn your fretboard. Get that down. Make that a priority. It shouldn't be the only thing you work on, but make that a priority. And then, but if you're an acoustic, if they say acoustic, then I say, look, learn strumming grooves. Like, you're going to learn chords. You're going to be learning songs and things like that. But the right hand is harder in a lot of ways than the left hand. A lot of times when you're playing acoustic, you're playing pretty simple chords. You might be going E to A, E7 to A or whatever. Let's see, what can I pick? Your left hand might be doing a little manipulation, but it's the right hand. The right hand will determine the emotion a lot of times. I mean, like I told you, harmony can give you a lot of emotion. That's emotional. That's emotional. Let's see. What was the C with the sharp? With the sharp 11. That's like the movie chord to make you sad, or something's just touch heart, heartwarming, or touch the heartstrings or whatever. But that whole some of the stuff that in the left hand, obviously the harmony can manipulate, but it's the right hand too. It's like Gary will tell you. Gary, you're still here, right? Yeah. So Gary plays a lot live and plays acoustic and sings a lot of songs, and it's like, Gary, if you did every song with the same, your audience is going to get bored, right? Part of what you do is like, that's a good groove. I call that the standard folk groove. Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, down, up, down. Okay, but I can make that a little more interesting if I go. Now it's the 50s or Spanish with that chord progression. If I go. Right? Or I could do the same groove but with a drum hit. 2 and 4. And that makes it much more interesting. Or if I do, I can make people fall out of their seats, and I could play the snare hit on the drum hit or the snare hit on beat 3, and it creates a halftime feel. So if I go from 2 and 4. That's a halftime feel. Isn't that cool? All right. So that's all within the same groove. That's just one groove. But if I want to do like a kind of a hip hoppy groove, I could do a shuffle. Oh, you play finger solos. So there's the grooves every different groove kind of has a different, and there's so many parts of the world that have their own grooves. I was just talking to a great Brazilian bass player yesterday, and we were talking about, he was teaching me how to kind of the basic Brazilian feel that goes way, way back, and what they would do. He said, people think the harmony in Brazilian music is complex. He says it's actually the rhythm's very simple. The harmony is almost all taken from classical music, like Bach and Bartok and stuff like that. And he says, it's the harmonies are classical because they had all these classical musicians, pianists come from Europe, and then you had the African slaves there that brought in a lot of the rhythms, and then they just kind of merged into this what's now known as the Brazilian sound. And he says, yeah, it goes back, a couple hundred years, a lot of what they did. So, Light the Candle, Gillian Welsh, Miss Ohio. Yeah, that's Gillian Welsh is great. Yeah, and Gillian Welsh's guitar player, David, what's his name? David, he's phenomenal guitar player. I love the story about how he got his guitar too. He's got this crappy archtop guitar that's his main guitar, and it's like a K or a Sears or something, and he found it in a barn buried in a barrel or buried under a pile of sawdust or something, and he just this is his main guitar. What's the difference between harmony, rhythm, beat, and melody? Okay, harmony is the chord structure. You can have. Sorry, I'll get my piano up here. Melody would be a melody, would be single note. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting my windows here so I can see everybody. What is it? Okay, so that would be a melody. Very, very, very simple melody written by one of the greatest maybe the greatest composer of all time. So just to prove that you don't have to have something really complex to be to have legs. Okay, but to harmonize that, I'm just doing a random harmony. I went 1, 6, 4, 5 there. So harmony is, or I can harmonize it. Whatever. Harmonize it by thirds. Harmony would be a second part, at least a second part. So if I want to play, I could do 2 notes could be a harmony. That's harmony. But so is this. That's all harmony too. This is chords. So harmony is, and you can have a melody and a bass line only. That's kind of what I was doing with. I was just doing a bass note, but I can fill it out. I can fill it out a little bit more and make more harmony. Rhythm, the beat is. The beat is usually referenced like what beat? What's the beat? What beat are you playing? That'd be like what the drummer's doing. Maybe tempo would be the speed. Is it a slow song? Is it a fast song? That would be tempo. The beat wouldn't be that necessarily. Some people might say, "Oh, play a faster beat." That might be true, but what they mean is a faster tempo. A lot of times, and then the rhythm. Rhythm could be the rhythm of a note melody. Da, 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 da. That's the rhythm of that melody. I could play that. I could change the rhythm of that melody. I could swing it. I don't know if that's swung or not, but basically I could change the rhythm of it, and it kind of changes the feeling of that melody. So the rhythm is the rhythmic value of it. So I can take if I go Jingle Bells, but just play the rhythm of it. That's the rhythm of Jingle Bells. The melody of Jingle Bells is right, that would be the melody and the rhythm together. Now, if I play Jingle Bells without just pure six or pure, it might be hard for me, but pure quarter notes. That's just the melody without any rhythm, just playing pure eighth notes or quarter notes. Cool. I want to play Don't Take Me Alive. That is it F sharp? Is it F? Well, and Corey, you're the one. I think you were the one that asked about bar chords. Yeah, I'm actually not playing a bar chord here. I'm only getting this one note with that finger. So it's 2, 5, or 2, 4, nothing, or bar if you want. And then 3, 5, 5. Is that right, or was it F? It's one of those two chords, I think. Maybe it's G. I don't know. Anybody know the answer to that question? It's a great song, though. And it's funny because Rick Beato interviews Larry Carlton. And he talks about that. Like they said, hey, do a jam or something. So the song starts with a guitar solo. It's one of the few songs that I can think of that actually starts with a guitar solo, and by one of the best guitar players of all time. So let's see. Yeah, it's a little yeah. Yeah, and harmony, like if I can play just the harmony. So like, hey, Catherine's here. Hey, Catherine, how's it going? I only do that because I know Catherine and Quayle's here. I only do that because I know Catherine is watching on a big screen TV. And I'm just trying to be the annoying little brother. But yeah, the harmony, it can be just a chord progression. So a lot of times when I write pop songs pop artists, that's all they expect from me. I'm not going to write a melody, okay? I'm not going to write lyrics because I don't have the sensibility they have. And if they're 22 years old or 20 years old or 18 years old or whatever, they're going to have a certain thing that they want to sing about that I'm not going to really relate to. I'll probably write about hip pain. My knees hurt or something. I've loved you, baby, for 50 years. This is the kind of song. It's like, man, whatever. I could go a lot of places with lyrics, but nobody's going to want to. No young kids are going to pay. Call up their radio station asking to hear that. And same thing with melodies. I wrote a lot of melodies in my time, and you guys know them. And what was the one? I may release some songs. Future melodies can be timeless to some point, but in pop music that's not true. And I've never done a study of this. I'm sure somebody's probably done some kind of dissertation on this, but if they were to analyze melodies of the 80s, of the 50s, of the 60s, 70s, 2000, 2010s, 2020s, you would find some commonality between those melodies, whether it be rhythmic or notes or value of where are they hitting a lot of sixths or ninths or whatever. And so that kind of thing changes. And so if I were to try to write a melody over a pop song today, it would probably sound kind of like an 80s or 90s melody. And maybe it's something that Mick Ronson and what's his name could use because they do a lot of throwback stuff. But mostly what I do, what I send to the young writers and producers and artists are just guitar hooks. And I'm writing all day for TV or for film or for guitar, for artists. But if I write something that's like, oh, that's kind of interesting, I'm probably not going to use it for a TV thing because TV wants something like all my TV clients, they all want something that's more derivative. They want something that sounds like, Tom Petty or sounds like Gnarls Barkley or this sounds like whatever, but last year or 10 years or 50 years ago. But pop music is not about what's hip today. It's about what's going to be hip next year. And that's the hard part about it. There's going to be thousands and thousands of people writing for next year, but only 5 of them are going to be right about what's the next sound. And so, like, something as simple as that, I wrote, and I wrote that, and it became a song that Justin Bieber and Cody Simpson recorded called Home to Mama. And it's a real simple thing. I'm just going, basically did a B minor, A to G, but instead of going to G, I went to G2 and didn't have the third in there. So it's kind of hollow sounding. It's like, wait, what? So that's the one, that one note, that to me, from my perspective when I wrote this, that was the hook. That was the thing that set it apart. If I had just gone, or it just went, that would have been pretty normal. I don't know that it would have inspired anybody. But the top line writer, the person who wrote the melody and the lyrics, Sam Hook, heard that, and immediately it inspired all of his, beautiful melodies over it. So you can look it up. It's called Home to Mama. It's funny because there's still a dispute over the royalties, so I think they've taken it off of Spotify and stuff like that. And the dispute is mine, so I'm keeping it from making money, which I'm not doing it on purpose. It's just that Sony, who has no role in any of this, determined that my percentage was 1/3 of what I was claiming as a co-writer. So I was like, no, I'm not fine with that. Yeah, and the nice thing about writing melodies first is then you can harmonize it any way you want later. So a lot of people do that, and I've done that. I've had melodies sent to me, and I've written harmonies to it, and about half the time they don't like it, and about half the time they're like, it's all about reading the mind of the writer and going, what is he really hearing? And because they don't know how to write harmony. They just know how to write a melody. They were hearing something when they wrote it, though. They don't realize it, but when I do, if I were to harmonize it, but they heard. Then when I sent them the first harmonization, they would just say, no, that's not right. That's not what I was thinking at all. Then they really did have harmony in mind. So, example question. What would you call Klaus Verman's main bass riff in I Want You? She's so heavy rhythm. Paul McCartney didn't play bass on that? Klaus Verman. I don't know. You might call, well, that's a thing that too. I talk to a lot of young writers, and thank you, Lena. God bless you. I really appreciate that. It's not early. We're almost to 2 hours, Lena. We've done quite well. What's the hook of a song? What's the hook? And a lot of people, it's the chorus melody. Not necessarily. Chorus melodies can be really inane. There's a lot of one-note chorus melodies. A hook is basically, the definition of a hook is anything that hooks the listener, okay? So a hook, that's the hook of that song. No matter what other part of the song there is, a song can have more than one hook. But that's really the thing that, like, immediately you go, oh, that's cool. The same thing with, what was it? But a hook could be a groove. I say that the hook, so I remember years ago, I was driving and I heard a song on the radio, and I was like, that's the coolest song. This band sounds amazing. And I could not, I go straight to Tower Records, and that tells you how long ago this was. And by the time I got Tower Record, I couldn't remember anything about the song. I couldn't remember any lyric or anything about the song. All I could remember was I went to the guy at the store, and I said, man, I just heard the song on Star 98, which was kind of a rock pop station, and I said, all I remember is it sounded like a car starting when the guitar came in. It was like kunk 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 kunk, and he goes, "Oh, that's Creep by Radiohead." And I went, "What?" And I bought the album. I got it home, and sure enough, that was the song. And I went, "Yes!" And it was such cool. And I'm a huge Radiohead fan now, but I'd never heard of them then. And yet that kunk kunk, that's the hook. That's the thing that got me to go, "What the heck? What's that? Why? I need to buy this." Anything that makes you pull your wallet out is the frickin' hook. Okay, 49 likes, yay. But the heart. Maybe there's another. Let me look up. Yeah, and John Brand. The terminology thing is just a. Yeah, but there may be a Klaus Vormann copy. Let me see. Let me look this up and see what you're talking about. I'm not seeing it. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's another version of that you're talking about, but I'll give you an example I can think of. Okay, a perfect example of a hook. And so far, I've shown you mostly bass lines that are hooks, but definitely melodies are the most common hook. Probably 50% of the time, the hook of a song is the chorus melody. Probably, I don't know if it's 50%, maybe 40%. The ones that all come to mind for me as a guitar player are things that are guitar based. But let's see. Right? Now that's Carol Kay wrote that. What they had on her chart was. They just had Rude 5. And she just thought, well, that's kind of boring. I don't know if you've ever watched the movie The Wrecking Crew, but she talks about this. She goes, that's kind of boring. So I came up with. Which was much more swingy and hip and fun. And that's the hook of that song. The beat goes on. Over it. Beat goes on. I don't know what key it's in, but that may be it. But the song itself just kind of lays there, but that bass line makes that song. If she had played what was written, and did she get percentages? No. But today, if I did that, I would get percentages on a song. But I probably wouldn't have gotten paid for the session. She got paid for the session. I've told you this before, and I was just talking about this the other day. In fact, I'm hoping maybe this week to interview my good friend Joe DeBlasi. He's got some great stories, and I've told you many of his stories. But I'd rather have you hear them from him. And he's got great stories about mostly. I think he started coming up in the studio scene in the 70s and late 70s, 80s, and 90s. He did a lot of movies and stuff, and played on some records, some pretty famous records. So we're going to talk about that. Back in the day, session players would just get paid a session fee, and that was pretty much it. Today, a lot of times with pop music, it's collaborative, and I've worked on hundreds of songs where I didn't get any money for it, but I got percentages, and then they never came out, and I made nothing. And then there's the occasional time where I contributed very little, and the record comes out, and I made a bunch of money, and so it all evens out. But somebody asked Tommy Tedesco, who played on a million of these songs, so many number one hits, And they said, does it bother you that you played only his hits and all you made was the original session fee? And he goes, yeah, I played on a lot of hits. Like, that's my guitar on a lot of those big hits in the 60s and 70s. He said, but I also played on a lot more songs that went nowhere, that were complete dogs, and I never gave any of that money back. So, so yeah, so it kind of all evened out. It's a totally different, but yeah, that bass hook rhythm, yeah. Oh, is that a bass hook rhythm? I don't know. I'd have to listen to it, but I think it's Paul McCartney. Um, I doubt that it's Claus. I mean, that was in the that would. I mean, if Paul McCartney said it was Claus, then it's Claus. But that's the Abbey Road record, which was pretty much 100% Paul's project. So I doubt that he would have anybody else play bass on that. And but it was. I mean, is Claus claiming that? I don't know. I mean, Paul's a great bass player, so he could play anything. I don't know that the bass line for "She's So Heavy" is particularly iconic, but I'd have to listen. I'm trying to think of what it is. But the bass line may have rhythm, but is it rhythm? I always call the bass player and the drummer of a band the battery. The battery in baseball is the pitcher and catcher. It's kind of the foundational. There's no game without the battery in baseball, and so in a band situation, really the game begins with the bass player and the drummer. Even before that, the drummer. So if the band is only as good as the drummer, I always say. But Ringo is a great drummer. I can argue that I've argued that with drummers. That I have a friend that said Neil Peart was the best drummer and that Ringo was a hack, and I'm like, how many number one hits did Neil Peart play on? So, and maybe that wasn't their goal, and that's fine. I don't know that. I mean, the Beatles' goal early on was to play number one hits, but I think I listen to every Beatles song, and I think every single one of those songs has a different groove on it. And I can't tell you how in the 50s and 60s everybody went boom, pap, 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 boom, pap, pap, pap. That was the groove on every song. And Ringo wouldn't do that. He found a different feel, and sometimes Paul was telling him what to do, sometimes John was telling him what to do, but for the most part he kind of came up with his own part. And there was another metric too by which you can measure this. He was the only professional musician in the band, but the famous there's a really big Beatles journalist, and he's listened to every single recording the Beatles ever did. He's heard every single take of everything, and there is as many as 150 takes of some songs the Beatles did. 150, and they have them all. That's crazy. And he's listened to all of them, and he said in the 9 years from 63 to 70, or the 8 years or whatever, that they only stopped 10 times because of or basically he said less than a dozen times they stopped for Ringo, because Ringo made a mistake. And some songs had as many as 150 takes. So only 10 times in 8 years that they stopped because Ringo made a mistake. That's pretty dang solid. And I know that there were times where Ringo was sitting there for 4 hours before doing a take, because that's just how they worked at the end. So Claus was their artist. He did the artwork, I think, right, for the Beatles. Did he do the artwork for the for Revolver? Isn't that his artwork? If am I mistaken that? Maybe studio work. Yeah, graphic artist. Yeah. Yeah, he did the collage for Revolver. I never heard that he played bass on. I know he's a great bass player, but he definitely did the artwork, and he's a graphic artist, or was a graphic artist as well. So happy Indigenous People Day. And there you go. I'll have to tell my wife. She's part Blackfoot Indian, but she probably has no idea it's Happy Indigenous Day. But the what was I going to say? That's interesting. Yeah, like I've never heard that. So I'm shocked that I haven't. Paul's never said anything about that. So, but you know, if that's true, it's true. But Paul's playing is phenomenal, and his sense of melody on bass is just off the charts. But I would have thought that somebody would have said something by now, besides besides Claus. But I don't know. Anyway, I'll do some research on that. I know Billy Preston. I have friends that knew Billy Preston, and Billy Preston played with the Beatles, but they didn't hide that. So, and they were constantly filming the Beatles working. So, in fact, there's a new movie coming out. I don't remember seeing Klaus Vormann in any of the. I remember seeing him in early stuff, like 62, 63, because they were buddies. But anyway, the Let It Be, is that the name of the movie, Let It Be, that Peter Jackson's doing? I forget what it's called, but it comes out. So anyway, well, I'm going to log off because I got to get to work. I got to get some work done. Thank you, Lena, for the coinage. I appreciate it. And I will hopefully see you next Monday, Lord willing, and we will probably continue this. I don't know where I'm going to go. And like I said, I may do a YouTube video on the modes. So I'll talk about that later, but we'll see what happens. And I'll try to figure out what I'm going to do next week, and then also I may do a video this week and post. I don't know. I haven't done one. Last week I'd already done the video. I just hadn't done the graphics for it, so I haven't done either for this new video. But the modes thing is one I've been wanting to teach for a long time. I'm trying to just right now. It's kind of why my brain is kind of scattered. I'm kind of trying to conceptualize how I would do it. I know how I did it with individual students. So I don't know if I can be concise on this and do it in less than 20 minutes. Probably it's going to be like a 30-minute lesson, which I don't know if anybody will have the patience for. Or maybe I can do a two-parter. But the problem with two-parters is the second part almost never gets any views, and really the second part's really important too. So I've got the graphics already done for that because I was going to do it in front of a TV if I could get that to work, but like a slide presentation kind of thing. But that wasn't. I couldn't figure out a way to film that. So anyway, I hope you're all well. I will talk to you later. And God bless you. Thank you so much for watching. Holly, Dennis, Bruce, thank you for moderating. Pretty chill there. We didn't have any crazies, so we did good. And then we'll pick this up. Probably pick this up. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what I'll do next week, but I may continue on this because I do kind of like this hybrid scale thing. Because I have been asked about doing the minor caged thing. So, okay, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.